Hey everyone. Okay, let me ask you something real. We are in 2026. Do you still feel a professional website or a logo makes people trust you more? I mean, seriously, do you think that is the case? If you think so, you're already behind the curve. Today, brand trust is the single biggest factor deciding whether someone buys from you or not, whether they pay you premium prices or not, or even recommends you to others. But here's the twist: trust doesn't come first from a website or a logo, it comes from the human behind the brand and how you show up online every day or frequently. That is why this video on personal branding versus business branding makes so much sense. And it isn't just another marketing talk, it's a complete playbook rather. So stick with me because by end of this video you won't be confused about which direction to take. You will have a clear practical blueprint altogether. Here's what exactly we will be covering. Let's dive in. Okay, why does branding even matter anymore? Here's the short version. People decide based on trust, connection, and relevance. And that has become really stronger with the social media and AI driven experiences. With all that AI slop you find almost everywhere now, right? So, recent data shows that 81% of consumers say they need to trust a brand before they buy from it. And transparent, authentic brands win loyalty. Now, add to that, 88% of the consumers say authenticity matters when choosing brands. And you will start to see why shallow marketing, pretty websites, and polished corporate words just doesn't cut it anymore. And there is more to it. Most buying decisions are emotional first. So, like connection before logic, you see, about 75% of buying decisions are based on emotional factors like personal connection, recognition, and resonance, not just features or price. So, if your branding doesn't emotionally land with your audience within the first few seconds, you are losing before a conversation even begins. Okay, now what exactly is personal branding? At its core, it's simple: your story, your reputation, your voice, your expertise made public. Pretty simple, right? Because it is so. Well, it is definitely not just a photo on LinkedIn. It is the profile of who you are as a human being and how that perception influences people's decision to work with you. Now, let's look at the power dynamics. 92% of consumers trust recommendations from real individuals more than corporate messaging. You will be amazed to know that leads generated through employees' social media convert 7 times more often than regular brand leads. Now, people feel connected to a business when they see the founder's face and hear their voice, not just a static logo. Now, why does this work every time? Because it is simple. People buy from people they like and trust. And social platforms gives you direct access to show up consistently, unfiltered, real and human. This is why personal branding accelerates trust faster. And now in recent years, the trust gap often wins or loses the deal before you start talking about your products, your services, and even their pricing. Okay, now let's switch to business branding. Now, business branding is not about you. It's about the company as entity, its values, its promises, and the experiences, and how consistently those are communicated and delivered. Think of an iconic company, not the founder, but the promise that the company makes. It's what creates a long term equity. It's what makes customers say, I trust this company even if the leadership changes. Now, here's what it does. It standardizes the experience customer get from your products or services. Well, it supports scalability. The brand doesn't die if one person leaves. It creates consistency across all the touch points, whether it is ads, whether it is products, your packaging, your services, etc. etc. Now, here's something very, very important. A business brand's credibility becomes especially powerful in larger purchases, institutional sales, and enterprise buying and situations like that, where reliability and scale matter more than the personality itself. So, personal brands build trust faster, but business brands build long term equity and structure. Well, now you may ask, how do we even compare the two now? Okay, let's make this useful, side by side, point by point, so you can really visualize the differences. I'll take an area and try to put personal brand and business brand to it. Now, if we talk about core focus, in personal brand, you act as an expert and a storyteller. However, in business brand, your company's mission and structured identity plays into picture. If we talk about the messaging style, personal is quite the first person, the journey, the experiences. Now, in terms of business branding, it's usually corporate, a structured approach, and a value proposition focused. Now, if we talk about what kind of audience impact does it play for both of them, in personal branding, it connects emotionally, so the trust is faster. While in business, it connects through track record and a structured consistency. If we talk about scalability, personal branding can be strong, but it's tied to one person's presence. Whereas in business branding, it can outlive the leadership and can be scaled by teams and proper systems. Now, lastly, if we talk about the risk profile, personal brand carries personal risk. If reputation slips, the brand slips. In business brand, it carries institutional risk, competition, market shifts, you know. Now, here's the strategic insight. Many founders today do not choose exclusively one path. The professionals we see winning fastest use a hybrid approach. Personal to open the doors, and then the later it becomes the business branding to build sustainability. Because trust built through people fuels the buying decision quicker, whereas trust built through systems fuels huge retention, excellent scaling, and longevity. So, now let's make this concrete by going through some examples. If we talk about personal brand, just consider industry leaders whose voice directly drives their business growth. That's exactly the reason people associate certain companies first by person, like Elon Musk, Richard Branson, even before the companies itself. Yeah, because a human story channels attention, relatability, and emotional resonance. However, if we talk about business brand examples, then you will see established corporate brands that have identity beyond any single person. They stand on consistency, reputation, product experiences, and they survive leadership changes without losing trust. For example, Apple. Steve Jobs is not there now, but Apple just keeps flying high, right? This shows why both models have real strategic value. One accelerates emotional trust, the other's structural equity. Okay, now that you have seen both sides clearly, here's how to apply this to your situation. Ask yourself, is your business built around your expertise, your story, or thought leadership? Then leads towards personal branding. Because that human trust drives decision making fast, in services and consulting? Do you want to scale, hire a team, move beyond you, or even plan an eventual exit? Then leads towards business branding because systemized identity builds equity and longevity. If you want both credibility and scalability, then use a hybrid approach. Personal brand to attract and convert, business brand to deliver, retain, and scale. Here's why that hybrid works. Personal brand builds initial trust and demand, then the business brand sustains experience and structure. Together, they create repeatable growth mechanisms. And this isn't a theory just. This is what works for founders in 2026 and beyond. So let's summarize. Branding today is about human trust and emotional connection, not just visuals. Personal branding equals to fast trust and relatability, whereas business branding equals scalability, identity, and longevity. The smartest strategy for most founders right now is to take hybrid approach. Use the best of both. And if you found this value, just hit like, subscribe, and share. Take care and see you in the next one.